Hello, it's Ross from EMDM. I think I've got a couple of people waiting, but I just wanted to jump on a couple of minutes early. Wow, I've got a new webcam, if you haven't noticed, and I believe it's HD. So sorry, I'll turn my phone noise off because that's going to get annoying. So if you're there watching, shout out in the comments. I'd like to hear from you and see who's there, because I can't actually see who's on until you say something. I'm just going to turn my volume down. I've got my mobile going just so I can read the messages. So anyway, I've got a new setup here. I don't know if you can see, but I've got an extra table in front of my desk, which will be the sort of craft part of this video. And I just wanted to make sure that I was going to get the camera angles right. So, and as you can see sort of like a wider selection of my study here, and you can see the junk in the background. So these piles here are piles of DVDs which I need to sort through, because I wouldn't say I'm an avid DVD collector, but I do collect DVD movies and physical media, CDs as well. But anyway, and I rearranged my DVDs recently to fit more role-playing stuff in. If you go this way, you can see my new sort of setup here up in the bookshelves. I've got first edition, second edition, and then third edition sort of underneath that. So that's as far as I've gotten as far as organizing stuff goes. So I will be doing a bit of craft today. Probably not your usual craft stuff. So what I wanted to play around with, I bought these cork tiles a little while ago, and I've been sort of trying to figure out what to use them for, and how to use them. So I'll be looking at that. I'm also going to I bought a Lazy Susan not long ago. And I'm going to stick this board that you can see here, I'm going to stick the Lazy Susan onto that, so that when I do my skirmish games, which I'm hoping to record, I can sort of swivel the board around. So I saw that on another YouTuber, and I thought it was a really good idea. So, but with the tiles, I'll talk about that a bit later, but I just want to give people a few minutes just to get on. So please let me know that you're watching. I'm going to go through a few things today. I'm going to go through some solo campaigns that I've started. I've got some videos that are coming up of my solo OSE campaign, which is the Caves of Conflict, which is my take on the Caves of Carnage from B4, the module. There's, what else have I got on my list? There is, oh yes, my new purchases, which I've got a few here, which I'm pretty happy with. They'll be sort of leading to other campaigns as well. So I'll just give people a few minutes just to log on, because it's pretty much 9:30 when I said that I would log on now, at least in Australia. So what else have I got? What else have I got to talk about today? Oh yeah, I did put a post out just recently on the socials for to let me know any games that you want me to run, especially with this new board, like any skirmish war games or anything. I usually like the sort of miniature agnostic stuff, so I don't have to buy a whole lot of minis for it. But any of those sort of games that you like, or that you want to see me play on this channel, please let me know. Who's here? Daryl. Good morning, Daryl. And Krista. Hey, Krista. Nice to see you again. Well, sort of, I guess, nice for you to see me again. Excuse me. Okay, so I'll jump into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is some purchases, probably. So I got this book, which I put out in the socials a little while ago, called Perilous Ages. That's a pretty shitty black and white copy of it. But one thing I really liked about it was the font that he used inside. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's like old high school, old school stuff. Who else we got here? Hey, man, how are you? And then yeah, so the whole book is just that old high school, like even primary school, old school font, and spacing and everything. But yeah, Perilous Ages, it's touts itself as a fantasy game without the fantasy, kind of. I've read a little bit of it, and I was really excited by reading it because I had no idea of what the rules were. It's like a percentage-based system. I haven't made any characters for it or anything yet, so that's my kind of first test to see if the game is any good. And then yeah, so it was only, I think it was only $4 or something, so it's pretty cheap on drive-through. But if you want something different, it's pretty much just a medieval age sort of game so there's no real like goblins and monsters and stuff. There's no magic items. There's no real spells. Like there's kind of he hints at magic in it, but not real magic, like D&D type magic. So I've picked my way through probably the first 3/4 of it. There's alchemists and stuff, which I guess is where the magic comes in, so they can make yeah, you can make potions and poultices and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. It's probably worth a look if you like sort of more realistic, sort of middle-aged sort of role-playing. Like I said, I might make up a character. I might even do that on film. I don't know. I'll see. But yeah, it's an interesting book. I really like reading it because I had no idea what the rules were. The other purchases that I got, which I got in the mail the other day, which I'm really happy with, are my Planescape books. So I bought the original Planescape, which was original box set, and this is a hefty tome. That is, I've only just started reading it. I'm going to be running a sort of probably a 3 to 5 part campaign with Planescape online. So that's why I kind of wanted to grab them. Also got the Guide to Sigil and the Planeswalker's Handbook. I did my research. I've only played in these. I've never GM'd these games, but I did my sort of homework, and these were the sort of the best 3 books to sort of get started on, I guess. So I'm going to do that in the near future. It reminds me a little bit of I really like the idea because when I played ages ago, like this was back in the 90s when it first came out, we just sort of had adventures. They were kind of linked, but not really. And they're reading it now. I really get a sense that there's big things going on. Like, so your characters, if you're not familiar with your characters, actually play a particular faction. Like you're a part of a faction, and those factions are vying all the time for power within the planes. And the more members they get, the more power they get. Sort of like Gods in Forgotten Realms. But they can take over whole areas. So the planes are sort of mutating on the edges, mutating and changing all the time, depending on whether the factions are sort of winning and getting more members and other factions are sort of losing. And it kind of reminded me of the old Feng Shui role-playing game where you had different factions again vying for control of the entire world, and the whole world would change. But in this, it's sort of like you could be in a town and it could change. The control of it could change completely overnight. So I really like that aspect of it. So I'm keen to get going with it and just having a look and getting the campaign set up. I'll see how it goes. Like I said, I've never GM'd it before, so it'll be interesting to do solo stuff. But I'll need to find a whole lot of Planescape tables or make some up before I start. So I highly recommend those if you want to. Again, they were through drive-through. I'll put links in below, but totally worth. Like the quality of it was good. The only thing that I do miss with the box set, but it's just too expensive to buy these, is the maps. So the maps, if you've ever bought something like that where there used to be a box set, the maps obviously came out in the big, you fold out thing in the box set. But in here, it's yeah, they're all sort of like just page after page. So trying to pull them together into some sort of large map would be quite difficult unless you want to pull the book apart, which I don't want to do. Also, I'm just about to pull the trigger on another purchase, which was Rangers of the Shadow Deep, which when I put the call out about what people wanted to see played, that was the first comment I got. So this is from Morpheus Games. It's like a miniature and agnostic skirmish game, which I'm pretty keen to have a look at. I had a look at it ages ago. I never pulled the trigger on actually buying it. But now there's sort of probably maybe a little bit of interest in watching me play it. I might actually grab it. It looks pretty good. If you look it up, it was Rangers of Shadow Deep. So it looks pretty cool too. So I'll probably buy that today and have a look at it. Now, before I go on, the OSE, the first session of my OSE online campaign is up. So if you want to watch that, that'll be dropping every Friday morning for me. So Thursday nights, I guess, for the rest of the world, or Thursday afternoons, evenings, probably around that time. So I'll be dropping that every week until it's done, hopefully, or until I get burnt out, one of the two. No. It's fine. I'm having fun with it. It's kind of, the videos are a bit hard to do because I've never really done a play video before. I'm doing it online, so I'm not doing it sort of like this. So I think online is a little bit easier to do. I'm using just a program, like a solo journaling program called Sojaw. Again, I'll put a link below, and it's pretty good. It works for what it is. And so the first one's up. It's a little rough, but I kind of figure I'll get better over time. If there are any questions about any of this, just let me know in the comments. The other campaign I started up again was my old 3rd edition campaign. I'm going to keep that off camera free. I just enjoy doing it. That's kind of my relaxation time. But it's an old 3.0. Like, I'm not using any 3.5 stuff. So it's just 3.0, except for a couple of rule tweaks that I've had. So that's kind of fun. That's been kind of good to do. I had a session of that the other day. I might put some like playthroughs, session details on my blog, but that's probably about it for that. So now with the crafting, there was 2 things I wanted to test out. One was building this rotating board, which I'll get to later. The other way was just playing around with these cork tiles. So what I did with this one, I don't know if you can see that, but there's the 1-inch lines on it, and the way the cork tiles are actually cut, they're perfect for they're a perfect inch. I don't know where's my ruler. So they're there. Let me get inches. They're exactly 12 by 12 inches square. So I've managed to be able to draw 1-inch lines on here and have a 12 by 12 dungeon tile or whatever tile you want to do in that with the grid. Obviously it'd be a bit harder by hand doing the hexes, but the grid works well, and I only use the grids anyway. I don't use hexes at all. I even use grids for overland travel and all that sort of stuff. I just find it easier. My head just can't get around hexes. And then so I drew that on just with pencil and a ruler. I just measured it out. So I did it, but I grabbed another corkboard because I wanted to put a cover on it so I could actually draw on it. So what I did was I just got some cheap. By the way, the cork tiles themselves are really cheap. I think they work out to be $3. No, less than $3 each. I think it is. And that's retail. So you could probably buy them online for even cheaper. And I think the actual texture, if you look at the texture itself, it lends itself kind of to dungeon texture, I think, maybe. The other thing I probably would do after the test is probably do a paint. It'd be interesting to see how the paint sticks to the cork. But just do maybe even a dry wash on it before I do the lines on it. Maybe in a gray or a black or something like that, and just see how see how the paint takes to it. I'm not sure on that at all. But what I did then was I bought some sticky contact because it's back to school time here in Australia. So my kids had heaps of contact left over, but I actually bought this roll as well. And it's just sticky contact. And what I did was I stuck it to this is just a test run. I don't know if you can see the sheen in that. There you go. And so I stuck the contact to the cork. Now you can probably see there's a few bubbles there. So it didn't work out perfectly, but the good thing about it is, my pen's here. is with the contact, you can draw all over it, and then just get a dry cloth like a Chucks or something, and you just rub it out. So and it just completely rubs off really easily. So what do we got? You can dry brush them in grey for great dungeon texture. There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I might actually try and do that. So I might try and that will be my next experiment. So I think when I bought them, I got packs of 6 for about $20, I think. So yeah, it worked out to be about $3 each tile. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool way. And then what I want to do eventually when I finish sort of experimenting, I want to be able to put magnets on these sides and then fit them together so they sit like that. And the magnet, like if I can get thin enough magnets, it probably shouldn't matter too much. And the good thing about it is this board that I bought fits 6 perfectly on it. It just happens to fit. If I put these together like that and then put one more on this side here, it almost exactly matches the size of the board, which is great. So the board that I got was 600 mil by 897 mil. I don't know what that is in inches. I suppose I could probably just do a quick measure. So it's 20. So it's about 35 inches long, and about 23 inches wide. So yeah, so it fits these tiles. So I'm going to combine these, I think, once I sort of get a feel for them. So that was, yeah, I thought that was a pretty good way to do it. Although I'm not totally happy with the a few bubbles I have. So I might try and find a way to maybe when I put the contact on, is just to lay something heavy on top of it straight away, and try and get it to stick. But still, I mean, for cheap dungeon tile boards, these are actually pretty good. So that the whole board with a contact, and maybe with the grey dry brush, probably only cost me maybe $3.50 per board, which is pretty good, I think. And you get the fun making it. So that was the corkboard idea. The other thing that I did come up, actually, my son came up with the corkboards. Where are they? I'll just grab another one. Was that you could use them for outside terrain as well. So you could, if you really wanted to, do something with, like, put a few together, or even like one tile, depending on the scale you want to do, and do an outside, like a map. Because one of the ideas I had, I don't know if I've still got them. I did have some pins, and I was thinking you could put different colored pins and do like an overland map. And each colored pin would represent, say, a town, a settlement, or a thing. And so you could just lay that down, and you could have, I don't know how you do it for like land masses and stuff. But anyway, it was an idea. It's processing. I'll come up with it. So what I'm going to do today is actually stick this on the board. So what I did was, let's get rid of these. I had to measure roughly in the middle of the board. So I've pre-done that. I was smart because I didn't want you to see how dumb I was with math online. So I managed to, I don't know if you can see that, but I managed to find the center there. And then I just put the Lazy Susan on and just drew a circle around. So all I did to find the center was just measure both sides, and then I made a mistake at the beginning, but I found pretty much what the center is. So this morning I bought Gorilla wood glue, which apparently is the best glue. I don't know if anyone else has used anything else, but this stuff is supposed to be pretty good. The only problem with this particular Lazy Susan, I noticed, is that I don't know if you can see that, but on the outside there's a raised area. So the problem is, instead of having the whole area, which is going to glue because it drops down, I'm only going to have the edge to glue. So I sort of wanted to get a really good wood glue. I'm going to clean this because it's a bit dirty. So that's a bit unfortunate. I probably could sand this down, but to be honest, I really just couldn't be bothered doing it. So I'm going to put on, I've got all these gloves left over from when COVID hit, and we don't tend to use them, but I'm going to use it now to spread the glue on, because I don't want to have sticky hands and then handle some role-playing book afterwards. Man, these are supposed to be large, but my hand must be extra large because it ain't fitting very well. That will probably do. Maybe they're medium. I don't know. So I've got to open this up. I opened it up before. How did I open it up? Oh, you pulled it. That's it. Okay, so hopefully the glue's coming out. So I'm going to put a decent amount around this edge, and I'm hoping it'll stick. So I'm just going to rub this all the way around. If anyone has any experience in woodworking glue, let me know. But I did a bit of internet research while I was at the shop, and Gorilla is supposed to be very good. So now that I've got that, I might just take that off and carefully put that on my circle. I think that's about right. Okay, so, now it's sliding. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now, if you're a role player and you want to get something heavy to put on that so it'll stick better, you always reach for the hardcover books. So I'm going to put, because there's no glue anywhere near that, so I'm just going to put these books, so don't freak out that I'm going to have glue on the books, but I'm going to put these books on the third edition, especially extra heavy. So I'm going to put a few of them on to hold that down and make sure that sticks, and hopefully that's heavy enough. I don't have any, actually I do have some weights, just some hand weights, so I might put them on top as well, but hopefully that'll stick. Put weight on it, over here. Thanks, man. So yeah, definitely hardcover 3rd edition books do the job, I think. So hopefully next video I'll have this board to show off, and it looks pretty good with the new camera and everything. So I was using the last few, I've been using the camera in the laptop, which hasn't been very good, but I did manage to get I think it's a HD camera. I think that's why I don't really know much about this stuff. So I'm happy with the way it looks today. I think that's all that I really had to sort of talk about. I'm really hoping what I might do with this board is actually give it a black, like obviously flip it over and do the surface in a black matte sort of color. So when I do, so it doesn't just show up bright sort of wood grain when I'm doing it. But I don't have a lot of terrain or anything like that. So what I usually do is usually craft something out of whatever I have, or just put stuff down that what I have at the time. I know I did have a box of stuff here somewhere. I think this might be it. This is it. So things like this. So just things I pick up in like $2 shops and craft stores. I've used this for a couple of just home skirmish games. I could paint them up. I might just do like a flat black or something like that, and then do a quick wash over them. I'm not really a painter as such, and so I haven't painted any of my minis. So any of the minis I use will be unpainted, because I am not the artistic type to be doing that. I thought I had some more stuff in here. I also like scavenging stuff. If you notice over here, I've got some board games, and I've played Massive Darkness once. I've never played these two. I played Descent. You know, I might actually do a video on Descent. I play through because I do like Descent, and I've kept that together. But these Zombicide and the D&D ones, I just take I bought them mainly just to get cheap minis, because the minis work out to be about, I think, between like $2 and $3 each, depending on what you got. One of these boxes was damaged, and I got it super cheap. The other thing is they're good for are these little markers. So, and you can sort of get creative with these. You could just use that one there for like a treasure token, and they have like heart tokens, so like you can just use them to, with the skirmish games, I usually just put them down to say how many lives they've got left. You can use these number ones for like telling you what, you know, which turn it is. So if you've got a campaign or a game that's time sensitive, so I usually just rip all this stuff out and find some sort of use for it. You could even, you know, repaint these or whatever if you wanted to, but they're good little figures. Maybe that's like a target token that you put on the board. So I'm hoping to do stuff like that, and just sort of jazz it up a little bit, because like I said, I'm not a painter, and these figures will remain unpainted unless someone wants to come over and paint them for me. And yeah, I've got a few that are different colored, like this crazy yellow owlbear that somebody made. One of my players did a 3D did a 3D print of that, and I've got a whole lot of kobolds that he did a 3D print of. There's a couple that I've gotten over the years, like this Dracula figure, that sort of vampire, I guess, figure, which has been painted by someone else. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to doing a few more of these. Like once this table gets put up and I've sort of got it to where I want it and where I like it, I'm actually going to do maybe some skirmish war games with the minis that I've got, and then I might see if I can, now that I've got the better camera, I might see if I can set that up in a certain way that I can actually do some solo role play just on this table, and then, you know, just sort of position it so you guys can see what's going on, because I do prefer having, like, just doing it by pen and paper, rather than doing it online. Like, sort of solo role play generally is my way to get offline, so doing it online sort of isn't the best, but I thought I'll just jump in and do it anyway. But hopefully, yeah, I can get this table up and going, and then we can use it as a, you know, base for war games or just solo role playing games in general. I think that's all I really had. But yeah, so sorry, just on this, I was going to say, if you do want cheap minis, it's definitely worth getting these big boards, and because they're themed. Because the Wrath of Shadowlon obviously is dragon based. The Zombicide is obviously undead based. So you can really, if you need particular figures, and I actually got that because there's a solo, not a solo, but a undead. I always forget the name of it. Where you're a necromancer and you control undead attacking villages and stuff. So I got that. Purely for the undead figures. So, you know, if there's a particular game you want to buy, you can buy one of those box sets. Ironcaster, hello. Second webcam on extended arm. Do you some good for that? Yeah, it definitely. I definitely need to work on the camera setup. I'm actually thinking of doing like a top-down one as well, which seems to be fairly popular with those videos. The only problem that I have is I don't have a dedicated space for this. So this setup here, after I finish the live stream, I'll have to take this down. I'll obviously probably just turn the table around so I can access the computer and the desk, but because I don't want to, you know, I want this stuck down. I don't want to move this. But yeah, so I don't have a permanent space for it. And especially with all this sort of mess going on around me, I need to sort of sort all that out first. So I'm hoping eventually, like, I think in the winter months, I might be able to use the garage. It's too hot in summer at the moment. But it's okay in winter. So anyway, we'll see. I'll see. Eventually, might be able to get a dedicated space for it. But to be honest, I don't mind setting this table. It only takes like 5-10 minutes to set up or take down if I've got minis on it and stuff. So I don't mind doing that. Yeah, so it's not a big deal, but it's just the fact that I don't have a dedicated space. And if I did have, I'd probably look more and spend a bit more time in doing the overhead rig and everything, so I don't have to take it down and move it. So I'll see how this camera goes. I'll probably do some experiments on it. It'd probably be, some of the videos might be hit and miss, but whatever. Anyway, thanks for joining, guys. It's been great. Let me know if you've got any questions or anything. I'll see you on the socials. But for now, this is Russ from Yum DM signing out. No worries, Krista. Thanks for joining. And happy gaming, everyone.